This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is not America's Sweetheart, Davian. And
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy Jane.
This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit, Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Hey guys and dolls, this is your favorite Latina Ref, Layne Rosario, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I'm, of course, your host, James J., and it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with Layne Rosario.
I love that. That was a great intro. Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. It's great to have you here as well. Can you tell us what you have coming up event-wise next?
So event-wise, Friday, June 13th, I will be in Kissimmee, Florida at Old Town for Coastal Championship Wrestling, CCW. And then the following day, June 14th, I will be in Tampa, Florida for Coastal Championship Wrestling as well.
Okay. And where can we find you on social media and your merchandise?
And all of my socials, I am Latina Ref Layne, Layne. So you can find me on Instagram, Twitter. Those are my main two ones that I use.
And does Latina Ref have merchandise?
Yes, she does. It is on Pro Wrestling Tees as well under Layne Rosario.
Perfect. And you don't have to go looking for it. All of the links to all her social media will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox. Alright, you said it, you you referee, I should say, for CCW. Can you tell us about your relationship with the company?
I have a very good relationship with them. In fact, I'm one of their senior referees. They've been a home to me in my refereeing career, and they do run pretty often. They run almost every weekend of each month.
That's pretty good. That's pretty consistent.
Mm-hmm. Love that.
Before you were a referee, you were actually a pro wrestler. You had a decade as a pro wrestler. What kind of made you make the transition from in-ring performer to the third person in the ring?
I had received an opportunity to have a tryout at WWE NXT, but before that, I was working as a wrestler for WXW off of the Wild Samoans show, and decided that maybe trying my luck and my skills in a different way in refereeing. So I started there, loved it so much, and then I was offered a tryout with WWE NXT for a referee as well, and then decided I wanted to stay the course because I realized how much I had found my place in wrestling, being the third person in the ring, and also just this felt 100% right to me.
Well, usually, when referees want to transition into pro wrestling, usually it's not the other way around.
Yeah, for me it was the other way around. I found my place when I put the stripes on. So I love that journey. I am grateful that it has happened for me that way, and seeing it from a different perspective and learning a new skill and using my decade-long career as a wrestler, to have experience to be a referee.
When you first started in pro wrestling as a wrestler, normally trainees would start out as a referee. Did you have any prior ref experience prior to doing transitioning in 2019?
Yes and no. We would have training sessions where some of us would step in and out on one-off situations and ref during training environments. I didn't really have any previous experience, like real experience as a referee prior to becoming one in 2019.
Okay. And how did being a pro wrestler help you in your refereeing?
Okay, it's helped me in the sense of kind of what knowing to look for, in a sense, with where different things are going to be situated, located, psychology, communication. So it definitely helps with a lot of the skills that I have now. It's just placing the skills that I had from being a wrestler into a different format as being a referee instead.
I gotcha. Now, you mentioned, your NXT tryout. It's never not a big thing when you're trying out for the biggest company in the world. What was that experience like, being in trying out for WWE?
It was a life-changing experience for me because I never thought that that would ever happen to me in any format. It would never happen for me as a wrestler or even as a referee. But it helped me grow confidence and gain experience and see what that is like. It made me want to reach for more and a higher goal for my career at that point. So with that, I was in a room with maybe 20 or 30 other athletes and other independent talents. So it was very, very great to be a part of and to see it from that perspective. Honestly, it was mind-blowing being in the performance center because I had never been in there before in that capacity. So it was just a very, very rough but rewarding 3 days of the tryout.
Okay. Now, you do have the distinct honor of being a referee for one of TNA's pay-per-views, TNA Knockdown in 2021. What was that experience like?
Empowering, because it was an all-female pay-per-view, even down to us referees. I was with another referee from OVW named Charlene. It was, for me, it was very much so the first time having TV experience with the headsets, with being told from producers and agents, time cues. I've had radio experience with that beforehand, but it was just a very, very different experience for me to be in that such a big of a production. So it was nice, and they also did, like I said, very women empowerment, to see all the different kinds of women that were participating in these matches, getting to be a part of it, getting to be a part of that, for me, will forever be etched in stone as one of the highlights of my refereeing career.
I believe you refereed Masha Slamovitz versus Deonna Purrazzo, no?
Yes, that to this day would be one of my favorite matches. Anytime I get asked from that night or just in general what one of my favorite matches I have refereed so far would be, that one would be it. That's also the match that afterward Masha got offered her contract with TNA. So that was a very, very cool experience to be out there for and to be a part of that match as well.
Oh yeah, Masha, friend of the show.
I think she is immensely talented. I am a very, very big cheerleader for Masha.
Oh, same here. Finally got the honor of actually seeing her wrestle in person not too long ago. For TNA.
Awesome.
Yeah. Now another crazy moment, no pun intended. Super Crazy actually pushed you, no?
Yes, that was my first match, I do believe, of that year was Super Crazy versus Gangrel. Another highlight match for me in my career as a referee was that match when he did in fact push me, but I showed my authority and gave it to him right back. That was a highlight moment for sure.
What does it kind of mean to you to be in such, a high profile, refereeing such a high profile match? Obviously Super Crazy and Gangrel, two big names in pro wrestling.
It meant a lot to me that I was entrusted with enforcing the law within that match and being a part of it, especially being a Latina in this industry and also as a referee. It was nice to have, the honor of being in the ring with somebody that I looked up to when I wrestled and somebody who's a very big component in the lucha libre. Being with somebody who was lucha libre all the way, for me, I was a big fan of Super Crazy. So it was a privilege to me to be in the ring with him and also to referee him, especially him versus Gangrel, because who does not love a vampire, especially Gangrel?
Oh, absolutely. Now, being the third person in the ring, a lot of things can happen. And, sometimes things do go wrong. Has there ever been an audible that you had to call on the fly?
Luckily for me, there has not been. I am very fortunate in that, where if there hasn't been any big injuries that I have had to witness myself being in the ring as a referee with a match. There has been times where I've had to do a lot more communication within the match, making sure everybody was where they needed to be or information was being communicated between the wrestlers, but nothing, thank goodness, that I needed to call an audible on or any severe injuries. And I'm grateful for that every time I step in the ring.
Okay. Now, like I said, prior to being a referee, you were a pro wrestler. And you got the honor of wrestling sweet Saraya Knight. Very well-known, big name, respected in pro wrestling. What was that experience like, being in the ring with Saraya?
It was scary at first because she's another one. I've always loved the British style of wrestling. And so to be in the ring with such an icon in Sweet Saraya Knight was a highlight of my wrestling career. We keep talking about my highlights, which I love. That was one for me for sure. It was scary at first, but I learned from her. I learned psychology from her. I also did a seminar with her as well that day and learned just so much from her. It was a great experience and one that I will cherish. I still have the video to this day of that match with her. It was part of a gauntlet. So needless to say, I felt honored that I was chosen to be in the ring with her as well.
Right. And from what I've heard, she's only scary inside the ring. Outside, she's a sweetheart.
She's always been super, super sweet and kind to me. So I can agree with that one.
Now, kind of switching back to refereeing, not maybe needing to call an audible in the ring, but was there ever a moment that was maybe unexpected where you were like, well, that wasn't supposed to happen, or that didn't go as planned?
Yes, there has been instances with different matches where things have happened in the ring that weren't maybe planned out, and we have had to kind of change the scenario and the dynamic or who came out where and things like that. that's where being adaptable kind of comes into play. And that's one thing I pride myself on, is being adaptable, where if there is something that we need to change in the ring, that we all communicate with each other. And that's one of the things that I love about being the third person in the ring, as you put it, is that I can help create that story, even if the story changes from what's been written.
Or ref bumps less hard to do, considering that you were in pro wrestling for so long?
Yeah, but most ref bumps are unexpected sometimes. So it's a different situation altogether with how the ref bumps would look over when I was in the ring as an in-ring competitor. So yeah, they're a little bit easier, but a little bit more difficult because they're most of the time unexpected.
I gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Just out of curiosity, obviously you fully embrace being a referee right now.
Correct.
Is there any chance of seeing you back in the ring as a competitor?
For me right now, in the stage that I am in my refereeing career, I have fully embraced wearing the stripes and have no desire to get back in the ring as an in-ring competitor. I always err with the side of never say never, but if it was up to me, then I wouldn't. I love being a ref that much that that's all I aspire to do. I don't aspire to get back in the ring as a competitor.
Fair enough. But, if somebody's pissing you off or, maybe taking more liberties than they should, you have that in the back of, you have that card in your back pocket.
Exactly, which is nice to have sometimes, just to know it's there. Even if I never use it, it's still nice to have the ace in your back pocket. Yep.
Now, you did you did wrestle in the NYCW early on in your career.
NYWC in Long Island we're talking about?
Yes, NYWC.
Oh, okay.
The New York Wrestling Connection.
Gotcha.
Getting all my letters mixed up. What was that experience like wrestling for that company? I believe you wrestled Mickey Adams, no?
I did, yeah, I did a few times for them there. I also got my start as a manager there and a wrestler after I finished with a different company. It was close to home. I'm originally from Queens, New York, so that's not far from Long Island. It was a really, really fun, exciting time for me because I got to play a character in a role that was not organically who I am as a person. So those times at NYWC are ones that I will cherish because they were memories for sure that will last a lifetime. It was just a fun roster, a fun environment. We always had such a blast.
Okay. Well, I asked because my former co-host got his start in the NYWC. So it's always, if there was a home promotion for Wrestling with Entertainment, it would probably be that one.
Love that. Yeah, definitely a great promotion in Long Island that people need to go see more often as well. They gave me a lot of my start and a lot of work and a lot of experience and a lot of memories, and a lot of friendships.
Oh yeah. Now, you did actually get to do some extra work for WWE. You were part of a pull apart between Bayley and Sasha, no?
Yes, I was. Mm-hmm. Yes, that was a really, really fun experience for me because it was in now what I consider my hometown of Orlando, because I've been living here now for 15 years. But that was super, super fun to be able to do that and be a part of that on TV.
What was the environment like backstage for WWE?
Very, very busy for sure, because you have the talent getting ready for what they need to do, producers trying to find their talent to go over what would be getting done and things like that. So it was a very, very busy, but everybody was really nice and friendly as well.
Was that the only time you did extra work for WWE?
No, I've done extra work a few different times in my career in a few different locations, in Charlotte, in Atlanta, in Boston. So I've done them in a few different locations and states.
What was you doing on those occasions?
Sometimes they didn't have like spots for us to do that would be on TV. So it would just be there in case they needed anything from us and things like that. So sometimes it wasn't really doing anything, but just being backstage. So for me, anytime I was there, I would use the time wisely to kind of absorb what was around me and try to look at the production side, because that is a learning experience too, and a really, really cool thing to see as well.
Was there anybody coming up, talking to you, giving you advice?
There was a few people that I had spoken to while I was an extra to get some information and to kind of pick their brain on things if they had time. But they are working on a TV show. So it is a little bit busier than being able to just have the one-on-one time to sit and kind of pick their brain, because they're busy with what they have to get done as well.
I got you. And how was the catering in WWE?
Amazing. It was good.
All right. You mentioned, working WXW for Alpha.
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of people, Alpha's Pops. Do you have any Alpha stories?
Well, Pops, as you refer to it, and as we all do, because he thought of everybody like his kids. He did give me my start when it came to refereeing. He was really the one who said that he would love to let me hone my skills there and work on my craft there. So it was just nice to have a home base like that and to be able to work with some of the talent that he had and get feedback and critique from such an icon. So that part was really great. Do I have any like super, super funny or off the wall stories about Pops? I really don't, because every moment being around that man could have been a story. He was very encouraging, very helpful, very sweet, and treated everybody like they were his children, because to him, we were all his kids.
I gotcha. I think it's time for Layne's Bizarre Adventure. You're in the pro wrestling world, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
Okay, so there was one time with a group of friends. I wasn't wrestling at the time, but we were on a road trip to the New England area of, I do believe we were heading to Rhode Island, but we ended up lost at we ended up in a parking lot of a shopping mall trying to find the location that we were looking into. So there's a lot of times where, GPSs were not a thing and you had to go by MapQuest or things like that. That I had ended up in some very random places. Like one night I was trying to go to Philadelphia, ended up in Delaware at a Dunkin' Donuts. Okay. So this is what happens when you let friends drive. They get lost in where they're going. Just nothing. There is one that stand out to me. I was on my way from Rockstar Pro in Dayton, Ohio, and I had to get to a booking in Pittsburgh. I was with a friend of mine and we were driving, but the road that we had to take was through a cornfield. Now, this is midnight. We were driving through a cornfield at midnight, pitch black, animals trying to run across and things like that. It was one of the scariest moments ever. When we saw the major street lights again, I was like, this is fantastic. We are not in Children of the Corn. I even Snapchatted as she was driving. as we were going through, I was like, if you don't hear from us, we got snatched up by the children of the corn, and we are in the cornfields. So that's one of the funnest ones for me. Even though it was scary, it ended up being a really funny story.
I was gonna say it does sound something out of a horror movie for sure.
Yes, like literally, I wish I was lying. It's one singular road with cornfields on either side. There was nothing to the side of you but these high, tall, I don't know what you call them, corn stalks. And it was very, very scary because we saw like bunnies walking through. And at one point we went very slow, mind you. And a deer walk in front of the car. I was just like, wow, so this is how horror movies get started. Got it. Okay, so if nobody hears from me in a day, this is what happened to us.
And you mentioned, getting lost, in various states. Is it the same person driving that keeps getting
No,
lost?
different ones.
Okay, different one.
No, it was different people. Otherwise, after a while, I wouldn't have let that person drive again. I would have been like, no, you're getting us lost too many times. I'm going to take over.
I was gonna say.
And not just,
Yeah, you are banned from driving us this time.
Yeah, after the first time, then we all started taking turns. I was just like, forget it. I am very grateful for GPSs now. Very grateful because they tell you where to go. You're like, okay, I'm on the right track still.
From what I've heard, GPS isn't always accurate.
It is not always accurate, but it is way more accurate than trying to do it without one.
I could understand that. Now, one of your gimmicks in pro wrestling was the Derby doll, roller derby. Have you actually participated in roller derby?
Yes, I have. I actually tried out for a local team here in Orlando and decided that pro wrestling was the fit that I wanted to go with. It just fit my life. It fit what I wanted to do. It was where my passion really was. So, and their training for roller derby was the same night as what my wrestling practice would be. So what I decided is I needed to make a choice. I needed to decide whether I wanted to do roller derby or whether I wanted to continue in my wrestling journey. And I loved wrestling so much, will always. It's a part of who I am. I decided to stick with wrestling, and I just brought the character with me. And I said, I loved roller derby and what it entailed and how empowering, alternative and different it was. It was very much so me, with the tattoos. The girls had the weird, different colored hair. It was very, very tough. And I wanted to bring that style with me when I, for my wrestling character. So that's why I made it the Derby doll Layne Rosario, or Derby doll for short, because I wanted to embody that with me and carry that back with me.
What was that experience like, being in roller derby? That's just as intense and maybe more physical than pro wrestling in some aspects, no?
In some aspects, they're very much so alike, because you are getting bumped around and thrown about and things like that. So it is very, very similar. And that's why I wanted to bring that aura with me went into wrestling, because it is very full of grit and fight. And that's what I wanted to bring with me. So they are very, very similar that way. You can just as easily get injured in wrestling as you very much so can in roller derby as well.
I can imagine. There is a wrestler called Bashley Bones who has roller derby as well. If you ever got back into pro wrestling, I think that there would maybe be a tag team there.
I love it. And I loved seeing that. Once I was finished wrestling, I saw her and her character, and I was just like, this is awesome. Somebody else is doing it now. I love that. And it made me very happy to see.
Now, can you tell us about the advantages and disadvantages of being in the same profession as your significant other?
I love it, to be honest with you. I have a partner who's very supportive, very kind, and it's very, very different because he is an in-ring competitor. I'm a referee. So it lends itself to not having any cons about that, as more so pros, because it's somebody that I can go back to and ask for advice from, somebody I can talk to about it with, somebody who understands it, somebody who's my road trip buddy for life. You know, like, that part's cool, is to have your partner being able to do it with you is the fun part for me. You know, the only cons is that if our careers go in different ways, that could be the only con I would see about that, but there's a lot more pros to it than cons to it, because you have your road buddies. You never have to really worry about that. Like, who's going to go on this road trip with me? Oh, okay, cool. I'll just bring my partner. And my partner can, you know, take me. So that's the cool part. I've actually gotten to referee a lot of his matches, and that's the fun part, is being able to be in there and do that together and be on this journey together.
Is it weird or odd to be refereeing his matches? Because, you know, obviously, you know, he's a loved one, and you literally have a first-hand view of, you know, him getting beat up.
Yes and no. I'm actually, if you ask him, I'm very much so, as a referee, stricter on him than anybody else. So he gets yelled at more often. And yeah, with whether I'm in the ring as a third person or whether I'm sidelines watching him, because I don't referee every match that he does. And that's with purpose, because sometimes it's good to just sit back and being able to just be the support system and watch and things like that for that. So being in the ring and worrying, I'm going to worry about him whether I'm in the ring with him or not in the ring with him. It's just when I'm in the ring with him, I know how to kind of put that to the back burner and be a professional and focus on what I'm actually doing.
Sounds like he needs to be worried when you're in the ring, because you're more stricter on him.
Yes, exactly. We make the joke about that all the time. And he goes, I don't know, you're so much meaner to me than everybody else. I was like, yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Now, can you tell us about your tattoos and if there is any significant meaning behind them?
So on the one on my inner arm is my dad's signature that he wrote on a card for me. Both of my parents have passed away. So I took a greeting card that he had wrote me, and he was just like, I love you, and all this, in his handwriting, in memory of him. The ones I have ones on my wrist that are paw prints for pets that I've had in my life, like my dog Shaggy, who's gone as well, and he was with me for 13 years. He was I called him my soul creature, because he was my soulmate since the day that I got him. So they all have different meanings and different time frames of different parts of my life, and they are physical representations of the journeys that I've been on in my life. So each one kind of has a different story, a different meaning. But the one that means the most to me now at this point in my life is the one with my dad's signature. And hopefully down the line, on my other inner arm, I'm probably going to get my mom's signature as well, from like a card she wrote me. This way they're both by my side always.
All right. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think it's time for the colossal question. Let's say they're making a movie about you. Every movie has a soundtrack. What would be the first 3 songs on your movie soundtrack?
Okay, so the first 3 songs are the songs that mean the most to me and have changed my life forever. And forgive me if I sound a little teary-eyed when I talk about these songs, but then I'll tell you the meanings. One would be I Am Not Okay by Jelly Roll. If you listen to that, it is a very impactful and powerful song. It has changed how I think about life and has helped me through some rough times. The other one is Wind Beneath My Wings, because that was me and my mom's song. And the third one is Scars to Your Beautiful, is a song by, I forget the name of the singer, but it talks about there's no better you than the you that you are. Empowering to just be yourself and love who you are as a person. So for me, that would be one of my soundtracks, is because that's been the biggest lesson of my life, is learning to love yourself for who exactly you are and rocking who you are.
All right. Well, definitely a solid 3 picks, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we have the soundtrack down, everybody knows you get the soundtrack first, then you write the script,
Yep.
and then you go the casting. Who plays you? And you can't say yourself because you are legally obligated to make a Stan Lee-esque cameo.
Gotcha. I love that. I love a good Stan Lee cameo, because who doesn't love that in every Marvel movie?
Yes.
Every single one. Okay, so who would play me? That's a difficult one for me, because I'm trying to think of actresses that I like. In her younger frame, and this is there's 2 reasons behind this. I would say Drew Barrymore in her younger years, because of 3 reasons. One, she was in Whip It, which is a movie about roller derby.
Okay.
And so that makes sense. That's where I got a lot of inspiration for Derby Doll, was that movie as well. We share the same birthday, February 22nd. And 2, she's just as lovably quirky as I am. So her personality lends it very much so to that realm of things.
Okay. Drew Barrymore.
Mm-hmm.
And just so you know, Scars to Your Beautiful is by Alicia Cara.
I had a feeling that was it. I just didn't want to be wrong.
No, I knew what song you were talking about. I just couldn't put my name on who actually sang
The singer.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Alright, now that we have you casted, every movie has a supporting cast. Who would be 3 people with significance to you and your story that would be in your movie, and who would play them?
Okay. So first, we're going to start with the love of my life, my partner, Danny Briggs. He would be played by, because people think that he resembles this person all the time, and he's even gotten called wrestling's version of this person. He would be played by Jason Statham. Easy.
Perfect.
Perfect. Let's see. I'm trying to think. For my sister, Julie, who is my best friend, I'm trying to think of an actress that most closely resembles her and her funniness. What is her name? She plays in the movie The Heat. I forget her name. And she has no filter. Not Sandra Bullock.
Not Jenny McCartney. Melissa McCartney.
Melissa McCartney, for sure, because they're very, very much, especially in that movie, no filter. They're not speakerphone safe, but they're such loyal and great people. My sister is literally the best friend that was born to me. And I'm trying to think of one more person. One of my close friends, Ashley, and I'm trying to think of somebody who could play her, but there's nobody in the world that can come close to her as far as an actress that I can think of at the moment. So that one's going to have to be a question mark for right now, but those would be my 3 at the moment.
Okay, we could leave it up to casting for the time being.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that I wanted Drew Barrymore acting with Jason Statham until this very moment. But
see,
here we
and they're involved. Like, check that out. But yeah, so it's that he definitely has gotten called that before. We were at WrestleCade, not this past year, but the year before. And funny enough, Paul London, and we were outside of the hotel, and he goes, "Yeah, you really. When people say you're wrestling's Jason Statham, they're not lying. You really are." I tell him that all the time. I was like, "You definitely are."
Hey, I take it as a compliment.
Me too. Heck yeah, he's a fantastic actor and a badass. Like, who doesn't love that?
He once had his arm ripped off and then had to sew it back on with his other arm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I love that that line.
Mm-hmm.
This sounding like a great movie, a blockbuster to say the least, and you could pre-order the tickets now.
Right?
On to a controversial subject, pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
Oh, I just had it the other night. I'm a big fan of pineapple on pizza, so no controversy here. I'm team pineapple on my pizza all day, every day.
Okay, so very pro pineapple on pizza.
Yes. I literally just had it 2 nights ago.
Alright. What's your spirit Pokemon?
I don't know a lot about Pokemon, but I don't have one, to be honest, because I don't really know a lot about Pokemon, to be quite honest with you.
Fair enough. Now, we love the late great Tracy Smothers on the show. Do you know the acronym for Doug? THUG.
Oh, I do, but not off the top of my head. I wish I did, but I do not.
Would you like me to spell it out for you?
Yes, please.
T is for terrible, H is for hell, U is for ugly, and G is for jail, 'cause a Doug can't spell.
A thug can't spell. I forgot about that part. I loved that the G part. Love it. Okay.
Yes.
Love him for that.
We love the late great Tracy Smothers, trying to keep the memory alive on the show.
That's awesome.
Have you had any interactions with Tracy?
I have not. I think I had met him once, but from hearing his praises sung and what he's done for this industry as well, should be remembered and should be spoke of frequently.
Definitely agree on that. Now, weirdest question you'll be asked on a wrestling interview, hopefully. Would you ever referee a match with a Rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual physical Rock.
Why not? Stranger things have happened in pro wrestling, so at this point I can't say that I wouldn't referee any match, just to say that I've had that experience.
Okay. Well, just for context, there is a wrestler named Psycho Mike that indeed wrestled a Rock for over 15 minutes in a Tungsten Man match. That's an Iron Man match that lasts for 2 weeks.
I love it.
On a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
It's funny that you asked me that because I literally had that question asked to me a couple of days ago at my day job. And where I see myself is I would love to be the first ever Latin woman referee assigned to a major wrestling company. I would also, for my 5-year goals, I would like to travel more. I would love to referee outside of the country, whether that would be in the UK, in Japan, or specifically like Mexico as well, just to put some more stamps on my passport and also to gain experience refereeing people that I have not before and gain new experiences. So as far as my in-ring goals, that would be it, just to gain more experience, travel more, and get to see more of the world than I haven't before, and referee some of the greatest talent that is out there currently and work for a major company.
Why is your shoot job asking you where you see yourself in 5 years?
I was actually interviewing for a promotion.
Okay.
They were like, "What are your goals?" So that's a very, very good question that was asked of me as far as my career within that realm of things. So I was very honest in what I was saying with that as well, because you can have different goals for different parts of your life, but as far as being an in-ring competitor, that's what I would like to do.
I got you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And since we are nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom.
Perfect.
This is our speed round, or bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
Ready.
Greatest wrestler of all time.
Greatest wrestler of all time, male or female?
General.
If we're talking character and way ahead of her time, I'm going to say, let's see. There's a lot of them for me. I don't just have one. I'm very big into women's wrestling. So I'm going to say Luna Vachon and Sherry Martel. So there's 2.
Worst wrestler.
I'm not answering that because I am not getting myself into any sort of trouble or drama. Nope.
Would you like the default answer?
Would I like the default answer? So yes, I'm defaulting to pleading the 5th on that one.
You have chosen Eva Marie.
Okay, we can go with that one, I guess.
You're refereeing the main event of WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who are the 2 combatants?
Based on what is currently out there, or we're talking past?
Anybody.
So just current. If we're doing current, I'm going to give you 2 answers. If we're doing current, it's going to be Cody Rhodes 1, and then Damian Priest. Those would be 2 I would like to. And then if we're talking history books, it would be the women's match. I would love to see a 3-way. Like I said, Medusa, Luna Vachon, and Sherry Martel.
That sounds like a banger.
Mm-hmm.
If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Whose entrance music? Well, one, I liked what I did as Derby Doll, so it was Daughters of Darkness by Hailstorm. Loved that one. And if I had to choose somebody else's, it would be... I'm trying to think, because everybody has such cool music. Yeah, there really wouldn't be anybody's music offhand right now that I would say that I would pick over somebody else's.
Okay, so just your own theme music.
Yep.
Okay. Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is...
Kayfabe is necessary.
We would have also accepted taste great on toast. Squash, vegetable or fruit?
Both.
What? Both?
Both. It has properties that are like a zucchini or a cucumber, which are thought to be vegetables, but some squash can be sweet, like butternut squash, almost like a fruit.
Well, I will accept the answer, but I can tell you for sure you're only half right.
That's me guessing. on it because I don't know for sure and I have never looked it up. I just know I love squash. I like butternut squash. I like spaghetti squash. I like zucchini squash. So whatever it is, I like that vegetable or fruit.
So you're not willing to find out what it is. You're
not at this point.
You're willing to accept it for how it is.
Yes, that's very much so my personality. I accept things for what they are, and that's fine with me.
All right. New Japan wrestler Taichi. His ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question: what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
That depends on the person. It depends on your body. So I don't have a clear answer on that because all of our body types are different.
Okay, so to each their own.
Yep, to each their own. Whatever you feel comfortable in. If you feel comfortable rocking it where everything is showing, cool for you. If you don't feel that comfortable and you want to have it more modest, good on you.
All right. And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
No.
And that is the correct answer.
No.
And that will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me.
Thank you for having me.
Once again, where can we find you on social media and merchandise?
Okay, so on merchandise, it's under Pro Wrestling Tees, under Layne Rosario. Under all socials, I am Latina Ref, Layne, Layne. So come take a look around at my Instagram and see bits and pieces of my life, my work, and everything else.
And you don't have to type it into your Google machine. All of the links to all her social media will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castback. Simply click the link. A new tab will appear on whatever device you are on. You have no excuse. Give her a damn follow and buy a damn shirt. Of course, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, but on YouTube and Castbox. This was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us next Tuesday and Wednesday for new incredible interviews, and follow the show at Wrestling with E, but on X, Thread, and Instagram for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. Follow me personally at JamesJ993. Alright, when I say wrestling wit, you say entertainment, okay?
Okay.
For our special guest, Layne Rosario, Calico Yacht, Scooter Dust, I am James J, and this has been Wrestling Wit
Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.